Hey cats, it's Ed Beast Bud here. Today I have for you an initial review of a shoe I'm very excited about. It's taken its time to get to me, but now I've finally got it in hand and on foot. It's an absolute winner. The second version of Puma's marathon orientated shoe, the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 2. How does it shape up against the original version and the others in that field? I will tell you now, it's going to be a Beast endorsed model, this one. Let's get to it. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. If it's your first time here on Ed Bud Running Shoe Reviews, help us out by hitting that subscribe button. Also, click the bell of notifications so you're notified. Give this video a thumbs up like as well if you're enjoying the content, and also share it with your running buddies. Danke schön. Today, an initial review for you of a brand new shoe from Puma, the Deviate Nitro Elite 2. I'm very lucky to be able to test it out. They fired it over to me for my review. They're not paying me to make this video though. They're not vetting my views before my valued viewers will get to see it. We have a weight here of 250 grams or 8.8 ounces in my UK size 11, US size 12. I'm finding this one true to size, guys. A few of you have mentioned that Puma shoes perhaps run a little long. This one feels absolutely true to size for me in my UK 11. A very similar fit, in fact, to the Deviate Nitro 2, so if you're enjoying that shoe, go with your same size, okay? That does ring true, actually, because Puma have stated that this model uses a new last, and I do feel it's a little bit more fitting for a wider range of feet. So it does make the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 2 about 18 grams, or I think it's about 0.6 of an ounce heavier than the original version, though bear in mind there is a little bit more foam here in the midsole underfoot. I'm measuring about 40 millimeters here in my UK 11. Is about 33 millimeters up front. So by my calculations, that's about 3 to 4 millimeters more foam underfoot than the previous one. So it does max out the shoe in terms of the World Athletic Shoe Guidelines. Not that that really matters to us mere mortals. In terms of width underfoot though, it's pretty much exactly the same as per the original Deviate Nitro Elite. We will start with the upper first. Upper-wise, we have a slightly more considerable mesh here, slightly thicker material. It is reinforced around the toe box here with that power tape stuff that we've seen in the Fast R Nitro Elite, and also in the Deviate Nitro 2 as well. It really does work, actually, keeping the upper material, in the toe box at least, away from your toes, so there's no abrasion. I find that that's making this shoe a lot more usable. I think it will be a more universally appealing fit. Just more comfortable for a range of runners. By Joe, they've really improved the tongue as well this time round. We've got double lace loops either side of the foot, and that seems to stop the tongue from moving around whatsoever. No tongue slippage this time, guys. You can sleep easy. First time I've really seen anything like that actually on a running shoe, but it does work. A very simple fix. The tongue just remains exactly in position. It's a little bit more padded this time around. They've got a small little nodule of padding there towards the final eyelets. That should be on every shoe, even like ones you wear to work. There's a very thin heel counter here in the back of the shoe, but they have included a load more padding around the ankle this time. It really is a fantastic fit. Only slight issue I had was where that heel padding kind of ends. I did have a slight bit of rubbing on this sort of outer edge, but that seemed to disappear after a few miles, so not entirely sure why, but it went away, and that's fine with me. The padding that's around the ankle there feels very, very like the stuff that we found in the Adios Pro 3. It grips the foot in place, well, the sock really, I suppose, and it completely eliminates any heel slip whatsoever. So a very, very appropriate inclusion here. I found it very easy to dial in a really good lockdown in the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 2. Got it on foot, cinched the laces up, tied them, that was that. No faffing around with this asymmetric lacing or these perforated laces. A little bit of flexibility to the laces here. There's a little bit of elasticity, I suppose, but they do the job. Perhaps they are a little bit long if you're just going to do a standard bow. If you are going to use a runner's knot though, that's your preference, then you will enjoy the extra lace length. I'm finding there's a touch more width in the toe box here in this new Puma shoe. I wouldn't suggest there's more height here in the toe box, certainly a little bit more width. It feels like your toes can splay out a little bit more. The shoe doesn't taper in quite as much as the previous version of this model. Doesn't pull the toes into a point quite as much here. I think it's a little bit more width. So that ankle collar issue did seem to disappear. It certainly wasn't there on my second run in the shoe. No rubbing or irritation anywhere else to report here. No more hot spots. Michael Barrymore always said that those weren't good spots. Lockdown top notch, and I experienced no heel slip here. You don't really need to heavily cinch the laces to get a very good lock. After my initial runs, I'll give this a 2.9 out of 3 for the upper. A super balance of thin mesh, padding and comfort. Midsole.
Midsole now.
Midsole wise, the nitrogen infused Pebax material here does seem a little bit firmer than what we had in the previous version of the shoe. Not by much at all, but I do remember people saying it's a little bit too squashy for a race shoe. This one certainly seems to have a little bit more response to it. There's a bit more bite. Not quite so compressive in a sort of squashy way. This one seems to bounce and rebound a little more. As such, I found it much easier to hit my top paces in this version of the shoe. Maybe it's partly down to the new plate shape and placement. I think it's slightly forked now from the mid to forefoot, but it does seem to roll a little bit more. It's just that bit more propulsive now. Maybe it's also down to that increase in foam as well. There is a little bit more underfoot. Perhaps they've changed the formula. Perhaps Puma were very conscious of the fact that people thought the other one was a bit too compressive. This has that race ready response I really like. Similar, I suppose, to Lightstrike Pro, or maybe the foam that we find in the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus. People expect that now in race shoes, and Puma have got it here in the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 2. I really like it at 5 and 10k pace. Feels really snappy, feels very nimble, feels quite aggressive actually. It made me want to get back out there, run quickly. Could use this easily for training or racing. Feels good too at half marathon pace and marathon pace too. Everything really in between there, the whole range, it felt nice. Perhaps it's the extra foam here, better distribution of it. They've really dialed things in here. Going to take it out for a longer run perhaps on Sunday and see what it's made of. One thing is for sure in the Deviate Nitro Elite 2, that the durability of the midsole is going to be that bit better than a few of the other foams out there. The Nitro Elite here is certainly on par with that of Lightstrike Pro. It isn't going to crack, flake or crease as easily as Zoom X or Fuel Cell. Doesn't feel quite as brittle as Flight Foam Turbo, though I think this one's a bit more compressive out the box when compared to Lightstrike Pro. I can't help see the profile of the midsole here as well as being very close, I suppose, to that Vaporfly Next Percent 3 that might drop soon. It is close. What came first, I wonder? Like I say, the plate seems to be angled and a little bit more aggressive this time. That's very obvious as well on foot if you've worn the other version of the shoe. I mean, the DNA is there from the original, but this feels like quite a different beast. Just careful changes to the upper and the midsole here really have elevated the shoe. Maybe the forking of the plate has amplified the flexibility here. It feels a bit more natural now. Doing some reps at 5k effort, and it really did shine. I mean, don't expect Endorphin Pro 3 levels of compression here, but the responsiveness certainly is there. So if some of those super shoes are a little bit too squashy, this could be the one for you. Very engaging and exciting to run in. I can't wait to get back out in it again. Perfect for my requirements. I can train and race in this thing. Feels good at any pace to me. After my initial runs, I can't help but give it a 3 out of 3 for the midsole. It's perfect for my needs. Outsole now. Outsole wise, my word. On wet, slick concrete, the Puma Grip application here is amongst the best that I've tried out. Very good coverage as well from the midfoot through to the forefoot, and just enough here in the heel. They haven't scrimped, they've actually put it back a little bit further into the rear of the shoe. No planned sort of obsolescence here. This should facilitate some good longevity and durability after you've put some more miles into the shoe. Traction here works beautifully as you would expect from the Puma Grip. Heaven knows what they put into it, but this one really works well. This one is apparently Puma Grip Light, I think, but there's not really anything light about it. It does the job just like all the other stuff. I find Puma shoes really good for the UK weather. You really never know what you're going to get from one day to the next. Even during a day, you might get all sorts of different conditions. Certainly if you're racing, you want something that's going to be able to take on any sort of surface, and this stuff certainly seems to do it. I found turning and traction going around bends very good. Feels assured, I suppose. You're not going to be able to run through a load of mud in this one, but certainly for road racing where there's a few changes of terrain, it will easily do that. Excellent traction so far. I've got no real issues whatsoever. I mean, you might get a stone or something caught in here, but in terms of doing the job, it has done so far 3 out of 3. We just have to talk about value last. This one, I believe, is coming in at 175 Earth credits here in the UK. That places it way, way under stuff like the Endorphin Elite. It's a good 50 or so quid less than the Prime X. I would imagine when that Vaporfly Next Percent 3 comes out, it's going to be around 230, maybe 240. So this one actually presents some really good value. Yes, it's still £175. That is a lot of money to spend on a shoe. But I think you could actually take this out and use it for training and racing. You're going to get your money's worth. Some very careful changes here. Puma just haven't thrown a load of foam at it. They've actually implemented a few other very subtle little tweaks. Just makes for a very versatile shoe. A better, more consistent lockdown, removing that tongue slide issue from the original. More padding in the heel to fix that part of your foot in place. Improved traction from that Puma grip outsole. They've even reduced the length of the tongue a little bit. All of that goes into amplifying how speedy and propulsive the shoe feels. A real triumph, this one. It's a shoe that people need to stand up and take notice of. Vastly more stable than some of the other offerings out there as well. Does feel more like a conventional, traditional shoe, I suppose, but it's got the race chops too this time. Certainly some competition for the Adios Pro 3 as well. That one's on discount around about 150 now, and way under the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus. I think that 175's actually giving you quite a lot of shoe here for your money. Quality's spot on as well. There's no sort of glue marks. Nothing's been shoddily put together. It feels like a nice quality item. I think it's going to be really durable over time as well. The Nitro Elite midsole material doesn't seem to flake and crack and crease. So as I say, durable enough for some of your speed sessions in training, but also to racing. Could be a good option for you as well, perhaps if you can't fit into the Vaporfly due to the very prominent arch. Really well-fitting, comfortable race shoe. Don't expect squash, but you get bags of response in the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 2. Looks the part as well, one of the best looking shoes that's been released in a long, long time. I'm going to give this a 2.9 out of 3 for value after my initial runs. Right, if I've added the scores up, that gives us an equal best ever score of 11.8 out of 12 for the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 2 after my initial runs. We'll get some more miles into this one soon, guys. If you've got any questions specifically about the shoe, let me know down in the comments. Musical interlude time. Recently, a couple of people have asked me about advice starting a YouTube channel. Heaven knows why they've asked me. Either way, I did mention to them that it's a long way to the sort of middle somewhere if you want to rock and roll. Reminded me of that AC/DC song, and the whole sentiment of that track really is all about working hard to get where you want to be. Not sure, some people regard perhaps YouTube as being this kind of really razzmatazz, sparkly deal, where actually it means a lot of late nights, working very hard, coming up with scripts, getting some miles in the shoes, and just trying to produce something that people might actually want to come back and watch or listen to time and time again. I think the AC/DC song conveys that message perfectly. So if you are thinking about starting a YouTube channel, maybe reviewing hand dryers or something, perhaps you collect spoons, or you want to review fast food or something like that, then, you know, it is a long way to the top if you want to do that sort of thing. Just keep doing it, be yourself, don't try and be like anybody else, because, you know, yourself, you're the most unique thing in the entire world, guys, so remember that. Always remember you're worth it as well. Always, no matter how hard things are right now, you're always worth it. Keep on going, keep battling away. Better things will come, you just gotta work hard. So, AC/DC, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. Alright, Beast. Thanks for tuning in, people. Beast and I really appreciate it. You got anything to say, Beast? No? Okay. Hit that subscribe button, click the bell below for notifications. Also give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with your running buddies. My name's Ed Bud, and I'll be seeing you